Over 60? Your nails may be telling you something your body has been trying to tell you for a while. And sometimes a change in the color, shape, or texture of your nails can be a reason to look deeper, not just at your nails, but at your overall health. Have you ever looked down at your hands and noticed that your nails don't look quite the same anymore? Maybe they're becoming unusually thin. Maybe they're breaking more easily. Perhaps you see ridges, changes in shape, or a strange new color that wasn't there a few years ago. Now, here's where things get interesting. A nail change does not automatically mean you have a disease, but your nails are living tissue, and certain changes can sometimes be associated with nutritional deficiencies, infections, or underlying health conditions. That's why ignoring a major change isn't always the best idea. And today, we're going to connect that idea with something you can actually control every day: your food. Because if your diet is missing certain nutrients your body needs for normal nail growth, your nails may not be getting the building blocks they need. And the first food on today's list is especially interesting because it connects directly to one nutrient that can matter when certain nail changes appear. We're talking about iron. 1. Lean beef. If you've noticed that your nails have become unusually thin, weak, or strangely shaped, iron is one nutrient worth understanding. One of the classic nail changes associated with iron deficiency is called koilonychia. That's when the nails become unusually thin and may develop a spoon-like shape, with the edges turning upward. Now, that doesn't mean a spoon-shaped nail automatically proves you have an iron deficiency. And it certainly doesn't mean you should diagnose yourself from a nail alone. But it is one reason a noticeable nail change deserves attention. And this is where lean beef becomes interesting. Lean beef provides heme iron, a form of iron that your body generally absorbs more efficiently than the non-heme iron found in plant foods. It also provides protein and zinc, two more nutrients involved in normal tissue maintenance. So, if your breakfast or dinner has been mostly refined carbohydrates with very little protein, adding a reasonable portion of lean beef can help make the meal much more nutrient-dense. Think a small serving of lean ground beef with roasted vegetables, or sliced lean beef alongside a baked potato and a big green salad. You don't need a giant steak sitting on your plate. The goal is simply to make sure nutrient-rich foods have a regular place in your eating pattern. And here's the bigger point about the disease part of today's title. If you're concerned about a new or persistent nail change, especially one accompanied by other symptoms, that's something worth discussing with your healthcare professional. And our next food takes us in a completely different direction. Because there's a particular nutrient inside a very ordinary breakfast food that has a surprisingly specific connection to brittle nails. And you may already have it sitting in your refrigerator. 2. Eggs. If your nails have started splitting, cracking, or breaking much more easily than they used to, you may have wondered whether you're simply getting older. But don't automatically blame age. Your diet can also influence whether your body is getting enough of the nutrients it needs for normal nail growth. And this is where eggs come into the conversation. Eggs provide protein along with biotin, a B vitamin that's involved in several important processes in the body. Severe biotin deficiency can cause brittle nails. But here's something extremely important. Biotin deficiency is considered rare, and that means we shouldn't jump from brittle nails straight to you need more biotin. There can be many other reasons your nails are changing. That's exactly why today's title says your nails may be signaling something, not that your nails can diagnose a disease. Think about it this way. Your nails are giving you a clue, not a final answer. If your nails suddenly become much more brittle, the smart move isn't to start taking high-dose supplements because you saw a video online. Meanwhile, getting nutrients from ordinary foods is a sensible foundation for most people, and eggs make that easy. You can have scrambled eggs with vegetables for breakfast. Make a simple vegetable and egg skillet, or add a hard-boiled egg to a lunch salad. It's not about eating eggs because they're some magical nail cure. They're valuable because they provide nutrients your body uses as part of normal biological processes. And that's an important distinction when we're talking about disease. A food can provide nutrients, but a food cannot tell you whether a disease is causing your nail changes. That's why the responsible approach is to use your diet to support your nutritional needs while taking unusual physical changes seriously. And the next food brings us to a completely different nutrient combination. It's a food many Americans already know is good for the heart, but it also brings several nutrients to the table that matter when we're talking about overall nail and tissue nutrition. And it's swimming into our list next. 3. Salmon. When you think about salmon, you probably think about heart health, protein, or omega-3 fats. But for today's conversation, I want you to look at it from a different angle. Your nails need nutrients too. Nails are largely made from keratin, a tough structural protein. So your body needs adequate protein and other nutrients to maintain normal nail growth and structure. That's one reason salmon fits naturally into this discussion. A serving of salmon provides high-quality protein, along with nutrients such as vitamin D and biotin. And while eating salmon doesn't guarantee stronger nails, it can help provide some of the raw materials your body needs as part of a balanced diet. You can bake salmon with lemon and herbs, serve it alongside roasted vegetables, flake it into a salad, or pair it with brown rice and steamed vegetables for a simple dinner. Nothing fancy, just a nutrient-rich food that can fit into a normal American grocery routine. But there's another important connection to the disease warning in today's title. If your nails develop a dramatic or persistent change, that's a reason to get the change evaluated rather than simply adding more supplements or chasing internet remedies. And here's something else worth remembering. Healthy-looking nails aren't the only goal. Your overall health matters too. When you're getting adequate protein, vitamins, minerals, and a variety of whole foods, you're supporting much more than your fingernails. You're supporting the normal functions that keep your body working day after day. Now, the next food on our list is probably the most surprising one so far. It's incredibly nutrient-dense. But because of that, portion size matters, and it brings together several nutrients that can be relevant when we're discussing nutritional deficiencies and nail changes. We're talking about a food that many people don't eat regularly anymore. 4. Liver. Liver provides several important nutrients, including iron, vitamin B12, folate, copper, and high-quality protein. And when we're talking about nails, that nutrient density matters because certain nutritional deficiencies can be associated with changes in nail appearance. Iron deficiency, for example, can be associated with thin, spoon-shaped nails. vitamin B12 deficiency can also produce changes in the nails in some cases. But again, a nail change does not diagnose a deficiency or a disease. That's an important point to keep in mind. Your nails can sometimes be a reason to investigate what's happening inside your body. But only appropriate medical evaluation can determine what's actually causing the problem. So, where does liver fit? Think of it as a nutrient-dense food, not a treatment. You don't need to eat a huge serving. In fact, because liver is so concentrated in certain nutrients, more isn't necessarily better. For most people, a small portion occasionally can provide a substantial amount of nutrients. And if liver isn't something you grew up eating, you don't have to force yourself into some complicated recipe. You could prepare a small portion with onions and herbs, or use a traditional liver and onion style meal with vegetables on the side. The key is moderation and variety. Now, our next food takes us toward another nutrient that has a particularly interesting relationship with nail health: zinc. Zinc is involved in many processes throughout the body, and inadequate zinc status can be associated with abnormalities affecting the nails. And there's one food that stands out as an exceptionally rich source. You may not eat it every week, but if you enjoy seafood, you may already know exactly where we're going. 5. Oysters. If there's one food on this list that might surprise you, it could be oysters. And the reason they're here isn't because they're trendy. It's because oysters are an exceptionally rich source of zinc, along with nutrients such as iron and vitamin B12. And zinc deserves attention when we're talking specifically about nails. Your body needs zinc for normal cell growth, protein production, and tissue maintenance. So if someone isn't getting enough zinc, it can affect normal growth and repair processes throughout the body, including tissues such as the nails. But here's the important part. Eating oysters does not mean you're treating a nail disease. We're talking about providing a nutrient your body needs. There's a big difference between correcting a nutritional shortfall and treating an underlying medical condition. If your nails suddenly become abnormal, especially if the change is persistent, don't assume zinc is automatically the problem. There are many possible explanations. That's why the disease part of our title matters. A nail can sometimes give you a reason to pay closer attention to your health, but it cannot tell you exactly which disease, if any, is responsible. So don't try to diagnose yourself by matching your fingernail to a picture online. Instead, use the change as a reason to investigate. And when it comes to food, oysters can be a nutrient-dense option for people who enjoy seafood. You could enjoy a modest serving as part of a balanced meal alongside vegetables and another wholesome side. If oysters aren't part of your normal grocery routine, that's perfectly fine. You don't need one particular food to have healthy nails. The goal is to build a diet that regularly provides the nutrients your body needs. And there's another practical point here. Zinc is one of those nutrients where more isn't automatically better. You need enough. You don't need enormous amounts. That's another reason I prefer getting nutrients from a varied diet, rather than automatically reaching for high-dose supplements. Food gives you a package of nutrients instead of one isolated ingredient, and that's especially useful as we get older. Now we've reached our final food, and I want to finish with something that's much more familiar and affordable for many American families. It doesn't come from the ocean. It doesn't require an expensive supplement. and it can provide several nutrients that are relevant to normal nail growth and overall nutrition. It's also a great option for people who want a plant-based source of protein and minerals. Our final food is 6. Chickpeas. You may know chickpeas as the main ingredient in hummus, but there's another reason they deserve a place in today's conversation. Chickpeas provide plant protein, iron, zinc, and folate. And that combination makes them an interesting food when we're talking about the nutrients your body needs to maintain normal tissues, including your nails. The important word here is support. Chickpeas don't treat nail disease. They don't diagnose an iron deficiency. And they certainly can't tell you whether an unusual nail change is caused by a medical condition. But they can contribute useful nutrients to your overall diet. And that's the bigger picture we've been building throughout this video. Your body needs adequate nutrition to support normal nail growth. That's why a persistent change deserves more attention than simply covering it with nail polish or hoping it goes away. If you're noticing something genuinely unusual, talk with your healthcare professional. They can look at the nail itself, consider your other symptoms and medical history, and decide whether testing or further evaluation is appropriate. And if your diet needs improvement, that's where foods like chickpeas can help. You can add them to a big vegetable salad, make a simple homemade hummus, add them to a vegetable and chickpea soup, or use roasted chickpeas as a crunchy alternative to highly processed snack foods. Simple, affordable, and easy to find in most American grocery stores. So, what should you remember? Let's bring everything together. Today, we looked at 6 foods that provide nutrients relevant to normal nail growth and overall nutritional health. Lean beef, a source of iron, zinc, and protein. Eggs provide protein and biotin. Salmon provides protein, biotin, vitamin D, and other nutrients. Liver, exceptionally nutrient-dense, including iron and vitamin B12. Oysters, especially rich in zinc. Chickpeas provide plant protein, iron, zinc, and folate. But remember the most important lesson from this entire video. Your nails are not a disease detector. A change in your nails doesn't automatically mean something is seriously wrong. But certain changes can sometimes be associated with nutritional deficiencies, infections, skin conditions, medications, or underlying health problems. So, if your nails suddenly change, don't panic, but don't automatically ignore them either. Pay attention. Look at the bigger picture. And if the change is persistent, unusual, painful, or accompanied by other symptoms, get it evaluated. Because the goal isn't to become afraid of every little change in your nails. The goal is to become more aware of your body. Build a varied diet that regularly gives your body the protein, vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients it needs. That's a much more realistic way to support your health after 60. If today's video gave you something useful to think about, give it a thumbs up. And tell me in the comments, have you ever noticed a change in your nails that you simply ignored at first? Your experience could help someone else pay closer attention. And if you want more practical food and health information for life after 60, subscribe to 60 Plus Food Guide. Take care of yourself and don't ignore the signals your body is giving you. We'll see you in the next video.